45 years in keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense, and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They're open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week, located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out.
Darren Ossont from Ossont Battery of the Flamekeeper Network, and today I got a really great special guest I've been wanting to get on for a while, Jason Gardner from the band Temptation Wings. So welcome, Jason, to the Flamekeeper.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I feel like I'm on here a lot lately, but yeah, it's cool to be an interviewee every once in a while. So yeah, I'm stoked, man. Let's go.
Well, exactly. Like I said, not only are you one of the hosts, you do a great interview show, but you're also in a phenomenal metal band. So
I appreciate it.
We're gonna delve into that a lot and see what's going on with all things Temptation Wings.
Yeah, man. Real quick before we get started, I'm admiring your sweatshirt there with the Union Jack Iron Maiden. I have my my red logo hat going, so
Nice.
the Maiden synergy is strong in this interview.
Yeah, see, my girlfriend got this for me. Actually, it came with a matching coffee mug.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my wife got me this hat for my birthday. So yeah.
All right, dude.
Yeah, man. I'm stoked.
First things, man. How did you get Temptation Wings started? Is that your first band, or do you have bands before that? And how did it come about?
Funny enough, I was in a band before Temptations Wings, called Primed, Prymed. It was more like a just straightforward, modern at the time, like 2005 modern metal band. We had some good stuff. Me and the guitar player started not to see eye to eye. So toward the end, actually, this is going back to the MySpace days. The stories, so it dates me. But Micah also had a band, Temptations Wings, and he had a bunch of riffs with drum machine tracks on it. But I remember listening to it. I was like, wow, this is actually the kind of stuff I'd rather be playing than what I'm doing now. I was like, if anything ever happened to this band, I'm definitely going to keep this guy in mind. So a couple months went by, and I was like, we had a show here in Asheville, and I was like, I think it's actually a place called Fred's Speakeasy, RIP. But I actually invited Micah to open for us. And about 3 days before the show, his band quit on him, like all of them. So he couldn't make it. About a month after that, Primed called it quits. And pretty much when I got home from getting my drums from where they were, I pretty much messaged him on MySpace, and it took him a few days to get back. I was like, oh, it's one of these people, don't answer their messages promptly, And but he finally wrote back, obviously. And yeah, man, we've been together ever since.
Awesome. Now, what year did you guys first get together?
2007, because I met my wife that year, and her first show was the last Prime show. And then joining Temptation Wings happened, and she was there from first to beginning through all the trials and tribulations. Because man, when we got going and got like 5 or 6 songs and a bass player and his singer came back or stayed around, man, we were like, it doesn't matter what day or where it is, like we need to have like 10 shows on the calendar at all times. If we don't have 10, we're failing. And dude, we ran ourselves pretty ragged for pretty much nothing, dude. It was like show on a Thursday night, 40 minutes away, 3 people, whatever. Just as long as our calendar looked full, we thought we were really doing something, but kind of ran ourselves into the ground a little bit for a little while. But yeah, that's that.
Now, when did you guys do your first recording? When did that
First
come?
recording?
Yeah.
So we have a long out of print recording we did actually in Micah's roommate's living room. We called it Greatest Hits. It was like a tongue in cheek, it's our first one, so we were like, yeah, all these are going to be hits. Our first real recording was probably a demo called Destruction of Another Dimension, which I don't even know if you've heard it or not. It's still on our MySpace and Reverb Nation, but I don't actually even have a copy of it, but I could probably just download it and put it on Spotify or Bandcamp one day. But yeah, that was our first real recording with like somebody other than us. It was like 5 songs. Pretty good at the time. There's still some good riffs on there that I like.
Now after that, what was the did you guys like continue to play live, and what was the lineup like at that?
So our lineup for a few years was Micah, myself on guitar and bass. We had a girl called Crystal who joined us soon after I got with Micah, after we learned a few songs. And then we had his old singer Phil, which I'm not gonna disparage him, but man, it was a chore getting through some of his songs. He gave it his all, but showing up for practice was not really working out for us. So finally someone had to say something, so it was me. And I was like, we should look for a new singer. And Micah's like, well, I can sing in the meantime, just like, have ideas, keep going, so we can at least be writing while we wait for someone. And after about the first night, I was kind of myself. I was like, I actually think Micah should keep singing. I told Crystal that, and she's like, yeah, it wasn't bad. But I was like, well, let's just look around and see if somebody else responds. And we had a few people respond. One guy we never even met because he was like kind of a pompous ass. I mean, he was just like, yeah, we're gonna go. I'm gonna take you guys far. I do this, I do that, and he's like, well, let's hear what you got. And he's like, well, I don't have anything recorded yet. I was like, well, okay. There was another guy who's like, mom dropped him off, for practice. He only had like 40 minutes or something, and then like he had to like get a ride back to like the closest McDonald's. So like one of us had to like actually take him back to like the closest McDonald's to drop him back off with his mom and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work either, because like we need people who can like take care of themselves for shows and stuff, basically, or practice or whatever. So yeah, finally I was just like, my guy, I just think you're the best singer that's auditioned since we got rid of Phil. And yeah, we stuck with it ever since.
That's crazy that he wasn't even like, he never even thought of being like a singer before. Like that, the first thing that like when I heard you guys' music was, oh, this guy sounds a lot like JB from Grand Maggots.
Yeah.
And I was like, funny that he had no intention of singing. That's kind of insane because he's got such a great voice. So
yeah, it took about a year, I guess, for us being together before like it actually like kind of like was him singing. And then once we had that, it was kind of like the sky was the limit for us. I mean, we were a 3-piece for a long time before we were a 4-piece, but we can get into that later on. But yeah, those early days, man. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of late nights. I mean, like you get off work, go tear your shit down, drive to another town, an hour away, 45 minutes away, whatever, go play, take stuff back to the band room, throw it in there, go to bed, go to work next morning. For all of us. I mean, Micah worked at the time, he worked evening shift. So like he had to get days off basically to play shows, but I worked morning, like be at work at 7. So it was rough for me. I think Crystal was like evening shift also. So it wasn't too bad on her as far as like the next mornings. But yeah, it was tough on me, but yeah, I was dedicated. So I was like, yeah, whatever, let's do it,
Now, at that point, what was the sound like, kind of the same thing you have now, or did it kind of evolve over time?
Yeah, so it definitely was it's definitely evolved for the better. I would hope. People hear our old stuff. It's just kind of just been an evolution, man. Like, you hear new bands that you get inspired by, you get re-inspired by old bands that you liked, when you were, a kid or growing up or stuff. So like, you know, Grand Magus actually didn't. We weren't actually introduced to Grand Magus until like probably 4 or 5 years in, and that kind of like was like, whoa, this is like, yeah, this is it right here. And they were a
Yeah.
3 piece, we were a 3 piece, so they was like, man, this is like our holy grail band to like ever play with. We saw them finally in America. Me and Micah did with Monomarth a few years back before COVID, but the set list was criminally short. I mean, it was only like 5 songs, so I mean, it was cool to see him, but it was a bummer. It was only 5 songs. Their songs were only like 4 minutes, so it wasn't much of a set. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, I mean, yeah, the sounds evolved to where it's like we've kind of like gone from like stoner doom to like more like the current stuff, like classic power metal, Appalachian stoner doom, maybe a little bit of death in there every once in a while. Not so much in the singing, but like maybe like the chord phrasings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, when did you guys like? First thing I heard was the Skullthor Even Blade record.
Yeah.
But before that, I know you did a couple EPs that were on Bandcamp. Now, were those like the first kind of EPs that you really did besides like demo and stuff like that?
Yeah. So like I said, the Destruction of the Dimension was our first one recorded with somebody else. We did that in our practice space. And then when we got our new bass player after Crystal, which was Lee, we recorded another 3, and that is the what is that called? The War Mallet EP,
Yeah.
EP of Brutality. Yeah, we were really mature, still are. But so we recorded those 3, and then after we recorded them, man, it was like, wow, these songs are unnecessarily long. We made an EP that was like 22 minutes. It was like 3 songs. So we kind of learned a little bit on that one. It's like maybe we should like we should self edit a little bit better.
Yeah.
So yeah, we like kind of honed the songs, and we were writing the Skullthor EP for like probably like 4 years after that. Oh, actually, you know what? I did forget one. Oh, I forgot the Legends of the Tusk EP, which was the first one recorded in the studio. And then
Okay.
in between the Legends of the Tusk EP and the Skullthor album, that's when we wrote the pretty good bit of the Skullthor album, because that was it. Yeah, in between recordings was Legends of the Tusk, and then next was Skullthor Even Blade 4 years later.
So now that's the first album I heard from you guys, and I was just one time flipping through on Bandcamp, and I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, that album art looks cool. It's got to be a good album." So I
yeah,
listened to it, like and then I heard the name Temptations Wings. I'm thinking it's got to be like a down kind of thing.
exactly.
Oh, but I'm still like, "Holy shit, this is great stuff, man!" And I love the whole story, and it's like listening to a Conan the Barbarian movie. I mean, that's kind of what I like. So, how did you come about with the story? The whole story of Skullthor Even Blade, and then translating that into an album and music.
So we had like 3 or 4. Well, we had 3 songs already we've been playing for a while on that album, and then the fourth one was like a pretty good ways into a song. It was like mostly riffs and maybe a couple lyric ideas, stuff like that. During that time, we lost Lee as a bass player about 2000. I want to say 2015, late 2015. He had life just got in the way, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, we were just writing, and like it was just me and Micah. So we really had no shows or anything, and we had no shows or anything. We just wrote, and I remember texting him one day, and I was just like, "Hey man," I was like, "Why don't we just do a concept album? Because we have no urgent anything urgent coming up. Let's just write a cool concept album." He was like, "Yeah, it sounds fun," and it was like, "What should it be about?" I was like, "I don't know, just like a pulp Conan the Barbarian, like Skeletor meets like Thor or some shit. I don't know, just." And then like he was like, "How about Skull Thor?" I was like, "Dude, that's fucking perfect." And then he like, "How about Skullthor Even Blade?" I was like, I don't know where the fuck you got that from, but yeah, that's a fucking title right there. Like he just like pulled it out of his ass, you know. And then what happened was when we started like piecing like new songs and existing songs together with the story, I started writing down notes like of the story, and basically like each song was a chapter. And I wrote so many damn notes and everything that I wrote a fucking a book and like published it. And this is like the Sculptor Even Blade. Like this is like the lyric ideas for the most part turn into a story. And yeah, we just went for it. And not knowing really about vinyl limitations, we kind of went over. So I think our chance to press on vinyl got missed because we would have to do a double vinyl. And there's no way we could have afforded that. So yeah, unfortunately it's only CD and digital. But yeah, man, it was fun. Like, and we've always talked about doing another one, which we have some ideas percolating. Like I have a title, I have an idea for the story to conclude it and stuff like that.
Oh,
So,
so this would be a continuation of Skullclore?
yes, I can announce the tentative name right now. It's called Assassins of Gods. So yeah, you just have to read the story and then wait for an album to come out after the next one because we've already got that one kind of planned out. But yeah, man, actually, we got a PR company for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we paid them to ship the album around, and dude, I think we got like maybe like 50 or 60 reviews, and only like 2 of them were like what I would consider bad or just like meh. Everything else was like pretty glowing, which was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a fun album, man. That was a fun time. And to credit Chad Barnwell, who plays guitar now, his band also quit because his singer had kids and his wife wasn't really into the whole metal thing and everything. So he kind of stepped away for personal reasons, and the rest of the band just kind of went by the wayside. So yeah, we actually got Chad to play bass, and he never played bass before, so he just like looked up a bunch of like David Ellefson videos about tone and playing style, and yeah, he just kind of like went head first into it, and he played all the bass on that album. And there's only one guitar track that he's on, which is the bonus track that's on the CD. It's acoustic. That's the only one he did. But yeah, he's all bass on that. So there's songs. There's one song I think to Forge a Legend that he just improvised in the studio, and we've like never played it live because we don't even know what the fuck he did, and neither does he, which is funny. But it's a long song anyway, so like it really doesn't fit into the set. It's like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was fun though, man. Like it really lit a fire under our ass, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's probably the best time in the band, really, as far as I'm concerned. Like it was like stressful trying to find a bass player because like bass players like few and far between, especially down here. You always just find like a guitar player who just settles on bass because like there's nothing else available. But yeah, man, I think I was like the high point of the band, and we're still kind of riding the wave on it.
Now, in the next thing you did, right, was a live album, right?
We actually did an EP called The Path.
The Path,
which
was that the live one, or?
Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. It was, yeah, the live album was actually before The Path. I'm sorry. My timeline's getting messed up here. So when we had Chad's old bandmate Ryan fill in for a show he couldn't make. And I remember Micah asking me, he's like, "Hey, we should like ask Ryan to play bass." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "But like, so we're just gonna fire Chad?" He's like, "No, we're gonna move Chad to guitar." I was like, I was like, "Yeah, actually, that's a really fucking good idea, dude." Like, yeah, he called on that stuff pretty quick. So yeah, we asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm down." So he like went out and bought a bunch of new stuff because he sold all his stuff because he figured he was done with music, and he went out and bought a bunch of new stuff and asked what we liked, and we just gave him like a bunch of stuff we've been listening to, and he just kind of like absorbed it, and he brings in his own influences and stuff because he likes a lot of prog stuff. And then we went did the live album because we didn't want to re-record any tracks on Skullthor because, well, A is like people already bought it, a lot of people bought it, and I didn't feel right like charge them again for a better version. And
Yeah.
B, I was like, well, if it's a live version, it's like kind of its own thing. So it was like a continuation of Skullthor, kind of like as far as like the artwork and stuff goes, because David
Yeah.
Paul Seymour did both of them. So like it was like a companion piece. So like we kind of have it like as that. It's just like it's got one exclusive song on it called Death in Chains. And then the rest are just live versions of like stuff all through the discography. Like on The Path, we got on the Legend of the Tusk EP, we have a song off there. We had a and then ones off Skull Thor, which are all 4-piece compositions. So that was fun. I mean, it didn't sell very well at all, but I'm still proud of it.
Yeah, I like that one. I got that on Bandcamp, and I think I got it on CD as well. I have so many CDs. And
You know, anymore, man, if someone orders something like the order's big enough, I just throw one of the copies in there because I'm like, we have 100 of these. Like, I think I ordered like 200, and like we have so many. So I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, just be a filler. So
gotta get rid of these.
somehow,
Now
yeah, somehow.
thing that you spoke of before was the Path. It was a 7-inch single, right?
Yep.
With a B side there. Now I love that. I love that. I think it was Mirkwood is one of the tracks. What's the other one?
That's the A side, and the B side's Dimensions.
You mentioned that.
Yeah. So Dimensions is actually like this idea we have for like a trilogy of instrumentals that tie into each other. But the Path was written, or Mirkwood was written after like Michael went on a Lord of the Rings binge. So it's basically from The Hobbit.
Okay.
About the Mirkwood Path. And that's actually my favorite guitar solo that Micah and Chad ever did. Like I just love like the way it just like they just blend into each other, like the way the solo is. So I really like that song a lot. But the reason we released that is because we got a show at the Maryland Doom Fest. And the records unfortunately didn't make it in time, which was a bummer because I think we would have sold a lot. But yeah, so we recorded that to have something to tour on, or not tour, but just go up to Maryland Doom Fest on. So then that's why the name The Path was chosen, because like it was our pathway to Maryland Doom Fest. We had Maryland Doom Fest booked like a year before we like pretty much announced. Well, it was about 6 months before we announced it, but it was a year before we played it. So we had a lot of time to think of something to kind of like promote, So yeah, that's where The Path came from. And then like I said, I happen to like have come in a little bit of money, like I guess you would say disposable income. So of course, what do you do when you have disposable income? You don't spend it on your house or your wife. You spend it on burning your own fucking. You spend it on pressing your own vinyl, dude. Of course. And then after we got them, dude, and guess what happened? COVID, and I'm still sitting on like a ton of those records, man. I sell more at the local record store from just people going through the 7-inch records than I do at shows. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Like,
yeah.
Are that not popular anymore?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like people just don't like 7-inch. I mean, like, we only charge like $10 for them, and it's a colored vinyl. So yeah, I'm not sure whatever the deal is, but yeah, I still think I'm pretty proud of it. We got 4 test pressings, and then everyone has a test pressing, and then everyone has their copy, and then the rest of them are just sitting in the boxes they were shipped in from I think somewhere in Eastern Europe. Not Ukraine, but Czech Republic, maybe. I think they came from. So
now, what was the next release you did after that?
So the next release was the Marauders of the Killing Moon album, which it's a pretty close second to Skullthor for me. Like I go back and forth on them, which I like better day to day. But yeah, that's a good one too, because that was like our real like first that's our real first like cohesive writing as a 4-piece for a long period of time. We also have the second part of the trilogy in there, Cosmos. So we have Dimensions, Cosmos, and then the third part will be on the next release sometime. So yeah, and we just had like a bunch of like cool riffs and stuff, and it's more like power metal than we had been before. Had like the full suite of harmonizing guitars and dueling solos, stuff like that. We actually did write that one with vinyl limitations in mind. So if I ever get another more disposable income per se and then get it pressed, I can, it's ready to go. It's 43 minutes. So, it's ready. But for whatever reason, just we shopped it around, and we had one offer from somebody to do it, but it was going to be like a year and a half before it could be released. And we're like, oh man, we really want to get this out. But yeah, we signed with Electric Talon, Stephen Burdick, and he released a CD and did some tapes for us and stuff. And got the PR in the deal and stuff. So it worked out. I like the small labels. I kind of like the ragtag group more than I do the established success stories. It's always more fun being the clawing and fighting your way up rather than just watching people, come for your spot per se.
Underdog, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this one, I guess we'll talk about your drumming style and
Okay.
some of your I guess. Now, what would you kind of classify your style as, like how you play?
Booga booga, a caveman. No, I mean for real, like I didn't take any lessons. The reason I started playing drums is because two friends of mine, one played guitar, one played bass, and there was no drummer. So I was like, ah, fuck it, I'll go buy a drum set. So yeah, the next day I went to a music store called Dunham's House of Music, and it was a cheap drum set, the cheapest one I could find. I put it on layaway. Yeah, I got it out of layaway a month later. Set it up in my living room at the place I was living at by myself. And yeah, I just started playing. I mean, like I didn't know anything. I bought a book. It's like this is a bass drum, this is a snare. It's like, and it's like this is an eighth note, this is a quarter note, this is a 16th note. It had a CD, so you can like listen to the examples, and just kind of follow the tempo. And then yeah, I kind of like just self learned. Um, we practiced a couple times. It's pretty rough on my part, at least. But I remember when I finally nailed the drum beat for Back in Black, I was like, I could actually do this. Just a basic part, not any what you would call like the tail, the riff or anything like that, but just like the basic beat, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Once I got that, man, yeah, it's kind of opened up where I can like learn like 16ths and then like 30 seconds and flams and stuff like that. Where to use fills properly and where not to, how to overdo it, how to just stay right where you need to be. So like my whole philosophy on drums is like just keep the ship afloat, and then if you need to like add something to the song, then add to the song, but don't overdo it. Like don't overstay your welcome, kind of thing.
Honestly, that's one of the things I like about your playing. It's like sometimes, especially in metal, a lot of drummers have a tendency to, be super busy sometimes and like all over the
Yeah.
place. And sometimes the song just doesn't call for that. Sometimes you got to like sit back in the groove. And, you really have a tendency to kind of really have that under control.
Yeah, well, I remember reading like back when I was starting out, you have all your drum heroes. Like I remember buying a Shadows Fall CD, came with a DVD, had Jason Bittner like drum video on it for like The Light That Blinds. And man, I was watching that, I was like, man, I'll never get to this level. Like this is so amazing. And as far as like Jason Bittner's drum tracks go, that song is actually like one of his easier ones, looking back on it now. But at the time, I would like never aspire to get to that, get to that. And now, if I practice enough, I think I could probably play it 75% accurately. I mean, he's awesome on like fills and stuff, man. He's like so precise. But as far as like the bass drum speed, I think I could do it. And but a lot of these drummers, like a lot of bands, like black metal bands, and like a lot of the European bands, they love to just like start out the gate with double bass and like never let up. And some songs is okay, like Vader and stuff like that. It kind of works. But like for American like heavy metal, like what I consider like American heavy metal, like Southern groove kind of thing, I always like took like the Vinnie Paul approach, which was like just use double bass to like accent a riff or just like send it home. And because it gives it such a different feel. And I always like, okay, so just use it sparingly. So that's why I really don't have any songs that are just like constant double bass at all. Like, I always just like use it sparingly. It's like salt. It's like just use it to help, but don't put too much because it's gonna ruin it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it becomes less impactful when it's there all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, double bass. I mean, like now with all these, like with like 5 billion metal bands on Bandcamp and Spotify and stuff, it's really hard to like get inspired because like everything is just kind of like done to death, as far as like double bass goes and stuff like that. So when I hear someone who's actually kind of minimalist, that's kind of like when like my ears perk up because I'm like, oh, okay, this guy probably likes the same like influences that I do because I can like hear myself in it because like there's not much going on. And that's like seems like it's getting more rare and rare these days in modern metal. It's like everyone's like just fighting for like that, fighting for like the spot on top. Like I could play the fastest, but I'm just like, why not just like serve the song?
Exactly. And
You
sometimes,
know?
like, sometimes it's tougher to play a little bit slower and then just keep that totally in time. And with like there's guys like Jim Keltner, who's a great drummer, rock drummer,
Yeah,
and he's not like all over the place, but he's just one of the best drummers because he's so precise and like he's almost like a human metronome.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love drummers like Gene Hoglan and stuff like that, man. Like they really like inspire, they really like fascinate me. They don't really inspire me. Like I've never gone home after Gene Hoglan, like seeing Gene Hoglan play live with like Testament or like Death to All recently, or like even like Death Clock or anything like that. Be like, man, I need to like get up to that guy's level. I'm just like, man, that's really cool. But like, the band I saw 2 weeks ago that the drummer didn't do much, that was cooler to me. That's what inspired me. I'm like, I don't like ignore the talent, but like I just have my own style. Even though I appreciate all styles of drumming, the one that really like gets me is like the more like simpler serve the song approach. Other than like, flashy fills and I could play the snare at 320 BPM, blast beating and shit and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. It's like you
now,
do you, it's cool, but I'm not worried about that.
now, who would you say your favorite drummer is? Do you have a favorite drummer? Or
Yeah, I got a few actually. Cozy Powell is probably my
nice?
favorite drummer. Like I like his style. Like I think the intro to what's the Rainbow song? Sorry, it's late. I always get brain dead. The down and now, down and now, down and now, down down. I can't think of the damn name of the song now.
Well, I don't know. I'm spacing on you, man.
Anyway, yeah, Cozy Powell and the Rainbow is really good. I like his style a lot. Even in the later Black Sabbath stuff, he was in with the I think Tony Martin era, some of it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all really good. I'm not really a huge fan of John Bonham. Like I appreciate John Bonham, but like I don't like consider him to be the end all be all like a lot of people do. But I acknowledge his talent. But a lot of John Bonham was the tone and the sound in the recording. Because I actually think Bill Ward could probably run circles around them. Bill Ward was like a jazz hybrid drummer, like but in like the doomiest metal. It was like really interesting stuff. And it's stuff's really hard to play too, man.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
got
so a
so
lot of that stuff is like really difficult. Yeah, he's like got really good swing, but he's really technical. But the drums sound so bad on some of those early recordings. It's hard to
much.
tell them from the bass sometimes. Where Bonham was like really like the front and center of the Zeppelin recordings. That's why when people like are like John Bonham's the best ever been, it's like, well, maybe the best drum tone in the '70s, but best ever been, it's like, it's subjective, because Neil Peart was in the '70s too, and I mean, you think John Bonham's gonna play Neil Peart stuff? Probably not. But so it's all subject to opinion. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then getting up to more modern, obviously Lombardo is awesome. Lars, even though I think he's lazy now and doesn't really do anything inspiring now, I think the stuff through like probably I would say up to like Load and Reload actually were really good. Um, a lot of it's different, but he was also self-taught. He has some weird timed drum fills and stuff in there that are pretty cool. And like his cymbals, like most drummers hit on like 2 and 4. He'll hit on like 1 and 3 or like 1 and 4. It's kind of some really weird stuff. Vinnie Paul was pretty much where I got my double bass like influence from because like I said earlier, he doesn't overdo it. He just put it in when the song benefited from it. See who else? Anybody modern? Braun Daler's badass, but like he's another one of those guys. Like I appreciate his talent, but he doesn't really like make me go home and practice or anything like that. And then there's some guys around here that are really good too, man. Like there's a guy named Elon. I don't really know his last name because it's his stage name is Elon. Um, he's fucking awesome. He plays in All Hell and a band called Oblivion Throne. And
Okay.
they're like they both like rip pretty hard. I mean, he's just like really fast, but like he doesn't really overdo it either. Like it's like serve the song, but like at a higher BPM than what I usually play. Zach Wheeler from Howlin' Giants, amazing.
Yeah.
Really amazing. Like he's way out of my league because he plays his own style, which is cool. So I've tried to like sit down and play some Howlin' Giant songs on like my electric drums, and dude, I just like give up, man. He's got his own thing, his own feel. It's very strange to me. And then Adam Noe from Horseburner is another one that's really amazing.
Oh yeah, they're great.
That
Yeah.
yeah, he's really good. And then there's other bands that I've seen over the years that the drummers were good, but I can't think of any right off the top of my head. I would like really highly praise at this time.
Well, it's funny you talk about like Lars Ulrich. I always found it was so amazing that like the Black album. I think has the drums on that I think sound amazing. They were
Yeah.
so well recorded. And then you go on like something like Saint Anger,
Mhm.
and sounds like total shit. And it's like, how to like it's a pretty big juxtaposition between the two sounds. On one's so good and one's so like, what are you thinking? You know?
Well, I think the thing about Saint Anger was like reading interviews and stuff is like Saint Anger was supposed to be like a rebirth of Metallica. So like let's go back and like sound like we were in a garage. And so they did because that shit is fucking garbage. Including the snare. Yeah, as everybody knows. But I kind of get like why they did it, but like it's like what I was talking about earlier, like self-editing. They didn't have any self-editing on that, but those riffs and those songs go on for fucking ever and they're so repetitive. Like I like Saint Anger, like the riffs are all pretty good, and there's like good parts in the song, but like the songs are just like so long and overdrawn out,
And the
and
vocals.
like and plus like the really abrasive production. Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It was like meant to be that way, but man, it's still tough to listen to.
Oh,
Really tough. Yeah.
so what's next on coming up for Temptation Swing? What do you guys?
Well, man, we've been writing. We have like this really crazy idea to do. If it works out or not, hopefully we'll see. We're gonna release singles through the year and B-side covers, and then next year, the plan is to take those original songs and put them on an album with like three or maybe two, 3 to 4 new ones. And
Okay.
then the covers we're gonna also release on a collection with maybe 1 or 2 more covers.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have some like different configurations, like a box set and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been like kind of stealing ideas from other bands and stuff. Oh, real quick, getting back to the drummers, I just remembered one now. Dusty Squires from Night Demon. Uh,
Okay.
highly underrated. He's not in Night Demon anymore, but man, yeah, his stuff is really good, and it's not overdone. So okay, now getting back to the current plans. Yeah, so yeah, we just have all these crazy ideas. I bought a bunch of like artwork for the singles and stuff, and like I have like 10 or 12 pieces of art that we can use for covers to throughout the year and next year. So I'm pretty excited about that. And we should be recording, I would say April. So we should have the first single and B-side out by May, I hope. So we're hoping to get like 3 at least this year. 4 would be nice, but 3 at least. Because you're recording, it's not just because of the money, it's because everyone's scheduling too. Summer's busy, 3 of us have families, so like you gotta work around that stuff. And you gotta write them and you gotta be happy with them. But we've actually like kind of put like a limit on ourselves. Like, look, let's like get to like an hour limit on working on these, or like a days of practice limit. And once we hit it, let's just go with what we got. Because I mean, to be honest with you, you're never done writing songs, even after you record them. Like Chad has come to me many times, like, "Hey, what if we change this in this song to this?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's live. I guess it really doesn't matter." But like, dude, the song's been recorded for like 3 years now. What are you doing? I'll be like, let's move on to something else. But so yeah, like we're kind of like just set like some deadlines as far as like time spent on a song. It's like basically once Micah gets the vocals down, he's happy with it, we're gonna consider it done and record. So
Sometimes you do that. Like you hear somebody like pull their classic album, like, oh, we only had like so little time to do it, and just forces, like you said, just to kind of be like, all right, this is what the song is. And
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
it's a thing. because you can end up changing it so much that you fuck it up, you know.
Well, you might accidentally come up with a part and it sounds like way better, and then you're like, oh great, now we gotta like go with this, you know, and it's like just let it as it is, and it's just done, and go to the next one. I mean, that's any art. I mean, when you see a painting on the wall, like how did that guy know when to stop? You know, why couldn't he add one more grape in the bowl, or like why couldn't like one more apple be on the tree? Like how did he know to stop? Like, well, you just gotta say, I'm done. You
It's
know?
funny to say that because my girlfriend does oil painting, and there's been a few times where she's like, been painting like a scenery, and then she just like, it's like, oh crap, I put in too many trees. Like I
Right.
literally like covered the whole thing with trees because I just,
Yeah. It's like a
kind of go
forest canopy now. Yeah.
yeah, like, oh well, you start over, do something else. But
Yeah,
now
but I
when
mean,
you
like I said, art. I mean, it's just like that. Like, dude, I mean, like, look at the like extended editions of movies. Like,
yeah,
you know, like they had to cut shit out to release the movie. Like, this movie wasn't done. You know, it's like
I
they just
was
had
doing
to. You had to go with it because they told you to. You know. So yeah.
when John Hughes turned in the first cut of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it was
Mhm.
like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah.
The comedy, like come on, you can't have a 4.5 hour comedy. You know, that's a little ridiculous. Now, is there any physical, like what kind of physical releases you have planned for the new album? Anything planned
Well,
yet, or
man, like I said, if all goes well, I've got this pretty wild idea. I really don't want to say it because I'm afraid somebody else is going to do it before us. But we're gonna have a few different configurations. But I want to do like the cassette is just going to be the covers, and then we're going to have the new album hopefully on vinyl and CD, and then all of it's going to have different artwork for the cover.
oh, that's
And
cool.
then there's an ultimate edition which I don't want to say,
Don't
but it
say it.
will it will also have different artwork,
I
and
will
it's going
buy
to be
that.
really cool if it works out. I hope. But like I said, next year we'll be able to tell. So what our plan is, since we're like kind of like working stiff metal musicians, we're hoping that the singles will kind of help pay for the either pressing or the next recording, and like kind of like pay for it through the year like that, in addition to like shows and stuff like that, you know. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. You know, being in the ocean of unsigned metal bands now, that's Spotify and Bandcamp, like you really have to like rely on those like first week word of mouth sales or just like algorithms. So like when we release them, we need to like make sure we like hit it hard and hit it, you know, and just like make sure people know a new song is out. And then the covers are each one of us picked our own cover to learn. So, you know, I picked this song, Micah picks this song, Chad picks this song, Ryan picks this song, and we all learn it, no matter what it is, and whether I want to learn it or not. The only thing I told Ryan was no Tool because I can't play Danny Carey's. It's not going to sound good.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
he picked something else that was equally as hard for me, but more doable for sure. Yeah, he loves the prog. He loves the prog kind of stuff. He likes to torture me with
Yeah.
drums. Yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah.
yeah.
I should return the favor and find something really bass intensive, but I chose AC/DC. So I did him a favor, you know, and he repays me with his song. I'm like, thanks, dude. I appreciate that, you know.
It could go with like Running with the Devil, right? Don't
Yeah, okay. I mean, Chad is a big Van Halen fan. He can play a lot of it. So
inhale it. Okay, so all right. Now you brought up Van Halen. Are you a Van Halen or Van Hagar guy?
I can appreciate Van Hagar for like the songwriting, but if for listening, Van Halen all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I could also see where being in a band with David Lee Roth could just be like, like you just couldn't do it after a while, you know. So I see why
Yeah,
the guy.
man. The different kind of truth album, the last one they did with Wolfgang on the bass and stuff. Man, those vocals are there's a reason that album isn't really remembered well because those vocals are fucking garbage.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they were.
and his like live stuff, it's so bad, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Well, then too, like I'm speaking of Van Halen, Wolfgang Van Halen, and people. He's a talented musician, but God, his songs are awful.
Man, to be honest with you, I've never listened to any of it because like I kind of have this thing like musicians who have kids that just like they kind of like take like the they kind of take like the express elevator to shit that they they didn't really earn, you know. I mean, some people might chalk it up to like just being jealous or whatever, but I'm like, no, I kind of like respect bands that like worked their way from the bottom, and like a lot of these bands with like famous musicians whose kids come in and they get like, you know, festival slots and shit like right off the get go. I'm like, dude, but you didn't like earn it. Like you didn't go, you didn't, your band didn't take like 3 vehicles to like this show on a Thursday and play for like 6 people with 3 other bands. Like
Yeah.
your name is Van Halen. You jumped the line, dude. And like it's talented or not, it's like a lot of these guys don't pay their dues to get where they're at now. They're just like their parents paid it for them with success in their last name.
Yeah, and that's like, and well, I've listened because I heard people like, oh yeah, such a great musician, the songs are great, and I listened to. I'm like, this is just a really bad butt rock, dude. It's really like, it's like Nickelback, like Shine Down kind of.
Yeah,
That's
I
what the
mean, like that. To be honest, I've never listened to it, so I can't really say what it's like. But I mean, like I said, just seeing like what he's been able to play and like for and had like one album that just came out, like really, dude. Like, I
oh yeah,
mean, I can't say I would do the same if I had the opportunity. I'll never have the opportunity, so I can't really say yes or no for like for certain. But I just know from like being at the on the bottom rung for so long that you know a lot of these bands who have kids, like I think Corey Taylor's son is in a
yes.
band, and they like open for like Slipknot and shit. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, oh, another good example. Speaking of the Iron Maiden stuff, like all Steve Harris's kids like have gone on tour with Iron Maiden. It's like,
Yes.
dude, yeah, but there's so many bands more deserving of that like have been like working
Well,
towards
that's
this moment, and like you give your son's band the
isn't
opening
that
slot on a coveted tour, you know?
isn't that where Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest when he was playing with, I think, one of Steve Harris's kids or something.
Yeah, his daughter. Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, Richard Faulkner, I mean, dude, he's legit fucking talented. But yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, like when you're in that circle and you just know people, it's a little easier. But I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody ever heard of Richie Faulkner before Judas Priest. I mean, he was probably just a known circle. He's probably just a known commodity in those circles over there, you know? So not taking anything away from the dude. I mean, he is really awesome. I think he's better than KK,
Yeah.
personally.
And I think the
But,
fact that he's got like this long blonde hair kind of got like a little KK look didn't
yeah,
hurt
yeah.
the job.
Yeah. Did you know he married George Lynch's daughter?
I did not know that.
Dude, that kid is gonna be like the most like the best guitar player like in the whole history of Earth once it's all said and done. I mean that's amazing. Those are amazing genetics. Or
Well,
it could
who
go
is
the other way around. And they can she might not even be able to play a lick. His kid.
Kenny G? His son is like a guitar shredder or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, I saw that a few years ago. He's like the Kenny G of electric guitar.
Oh nice. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I mean like I said, just to round off the subject though. But yeah, like the kids of famous people who like just play festivals and stuff. It's like, dude, I can't really get behind you because like I just know that you really didn't earn anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, wrapping this up, is there anything else you got to say about Temptation's Wings? I know you got that new T-shirt design out that looks badass.
Yes,
Or
they're actually the order is going in for the blanks this week. I actually need to do that. So thanks for reminding me about that. But yeah, that's coming out. So we have a new shirt you can order. Pre-orders are over. But we'll have except for like 4X, we should have every size, a few of them at least. So if you want to order one afterwards or see it and get it at a show, we'd appreciate that. It's our new summer t-shirt. It's white. So, you know, you can go to an outdoor metal show and not die, you know, in the heat. Because like, you know, getting older, dude, I used to be like only black, only black. Now I'm like 44. I'm like, you know what? Who really gives a fuck, man? If the shirt looks cool, fucking go for it. Like I have this Children of the Reptile shirt, Good Time Orc. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's white and dude, I don't even care, man. I just wear it. People look at me like I'm weird because it makes no sense. It was a Children of the Reptile song on one of their EPs, and I'm good with that, you know. So
oh, I have a Cloud Stay Satanic white tank top. It's like a
yeah,
beach one for the summer.
nice.
So, hey man, like you said, it's about like when you get to be our age, it's about keeping cool. 'Cause I don't want to sweat to death, I sweat.
Exactly. Especially, you start putting on a little bit of weight and stuff when you're older, and yeah, it's just let's just not suffer. But I
Yeah.
would consider my 44 my golden years of my metal music career. Obviously my body's breaking down a little bit every day, seems like. So I know I'm not gonna be doing this forever, but I'm shooting to at least my kids can go see me and remember it, and then I think I'm good. So that's what we're holding on for, me, Micah, and Chad. Ryan doesn't have any kids, so yeah, I think like our end date is kind of like in sight, not too close, but really not too far either.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, so we'll just record and release stuff until then, and then after it happens, we'll see where we're at and go from there.
Well,
So
now
yeah.
you mentioned all us, guys are getting older and stuff. I got a great idea for a merch item. You could
What's
get
that?
Temptations Wings themed muscle rub for
I
like,
love that idea.
your shows,
Dude,
It's
everyone
something.
else has like hot sauce, beer. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, everyone has hot sauce and beer. Why not something like you can actually use like after a good hard day of like standing? You put this like muscle rub on like the back of your legs or something, or your knees or whatever, or your hip, and like it helps you like recover for work the next week or whatever, whatever it might be. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I should look into that. It's a pretty good idea, actually, man. Like it's like hot sauce, coffee, and beer. Like we'll just come out with like pharmaceuticals stuff. Like it's like Ben Gay, but like we could like name it after like one of our songs, like I don't know, like Silent Assassin or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Kills the
Yeah,
pain silently.
yeah. Silent Assassin muscle rub or something. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that about wraps it up for Ossont Battery this week. I just want to thank Jason for being on from Temptation Swings. Go check them out on Bandcamp. Go support them, buy whatever they got. Everything's killer in their catalog.
Thank
So, thank you very much, Jason, for being on. And this is Ossont Battery this week on the Flamekeeper Network. Stay metal, everybody.
Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana is the premier 12,500 square foot music superstore that has served both the southern Indiana and Louisville, Kentucky metro area for over 4 decades. Originally founded by Marvin and Beverly Maxwell in the 70s, this gym remains a Maxwell family-owned business. Mark Maxwell, along with his business partner, Whitney McNichol, continue the reputation as being a national resource for all things music. In 2022, the iconic Guitar Emporium of Louisville relocated to Maxwell's Music, creating the largest independently owned showroom in the region. The retail offerings at Maxwell's Music includes a huge selection of guitars, basses, amplifiers, effects pedals, modeling amps, keyboards, drums, banjos, mandolins, ukuleles, sound systems, stage lighting equipment, and accessories. The music education program at Maxwell's is second to none. From private instrument and voice lessons to DG, EDM, recording, songwriting, and music theory, to rock school, weekend warriors, and Maxwell's Music Lab, there is something for every age and every ability level. In Repairland, guitar and instrument repairs and refurbishment are taken care of by the Maxwell's team of expert guitar technicians and luthiers. They also do instrument appraisals. Maxwell's offers installations for professional audio-visual and lighting systems for schools, churches, clubs, VFWs, funeral homes, sports fields, and so much more. There's also rentable space at Maxwell's, from music practice or rehearsal rooms for individuals or bands, all the way to a meeting space and concert venue that seats up to 120. That also includes a professional audio-visual and lighting system and a sound booth. Maxwell's has it all. All this plus an original, functioning 1947 recording booth to make your own record, to the Guitar Hero throne, to their very own Elvis statue, and don't forget the Harmony Green Pocket Park. There's a reason Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana has been recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants as the #1 award-winning best store design, as well as top 100 music store year after year. You gotta see it to believe it. Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana.